Hey, my name is Philip. I'm sure you know about my YouTube and Facebook page. And today we're going to discuss Jaws, the legendary classic film from 1975, along with my good friend, John. How do you do, John? How's everything
Fine,
going?
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to be here to talk about something that happened, gosh, 40 some years ago.
Yes.
Where did it all go?
I know.
Where did it all go?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Let's start off like your memories of Jaws when it first came out.
Well, you know, I think it's one of the few films that when it came out, and I think it aired in major theaters in the States in May of '75.
Okay.
Very end of May. It aired here in June '75, so
Right.
Bermuda didn't have to wait very long at all.
Right.
You know, quite often in those days, a film may not get here for a year, even 2 years, but Jaws, being such a big blockbuster, got here very quickly.
Right.
And the theaters, I think every single showing was filled,
Right.
and every single beach afterwards was empty.
That's the thing that I read about. It was
Yeah.
like on Facebook. It's like, no, I didn't go back into the water for about a year after
No,
seeing
it
that.
definitely had an impact on everybody.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and, you know, unnecessarily. I mean, obviously they hyped up the whole shark thing,
Yeah,
but sharks aren't a menace like they were portrayed, or the shark was portrayed in Jaws.
Right.
But you had to do that to make it a gripping film.
oh, of course. You know, I mean, and Steven Spielberg did just a bang-up job. You know, he did an absolutely amazing job.
Yes.
You know, he just, for someone so young,
Yes. What was he, in his 20s?
he was about 25.
Amazing. Wow.
You know, he was about 25 years of age. I think when he did Duel, he must have been about 21, 22.
Wow.
But
Amazing. What talent.
it was, and you know, and things were so limited back then.
Yes.
You know, I read where they had immense problems, you know, filming the shark in the water because the water was obviously salt water.
Yes.
And it was getting inside the mechanics of the shark.
Oh, interesting.
And it was
Yes.
causing the shark to malfunction.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, how in the world did they actually, you know, overcome that?
Yes. Wow. So they had to think about all these things that cropped up that they didn't expect.
Right.
One thing I know about Jaws, I think it may hold a world record for the longest film in the making.
Right.
You know, they started filming Jaws in February of '74.
Right.
And they filmed in the South Pacific, so a lot of the underwater shots were done in the South Pacific,
Right.
where they filmed for maybe 2 or 3 months. And then around the beginning of May, they started filming in Nantucket.
Right.
So you start seeing the very first scenes in Nantucket. It's interesting, those scenes, people are bundled up, the trees are just very new leaf, you know.
Right.
And I think they're trying to say, well, here we are, July the 4th is around the corner. But
Right.
it was actually very early May. And you know, they continued filming all the way till the end of October.
Okay.
People got very frustrated. It was a difficult film to put together.
Yes.
There were so many facets that had to be pulled together.
Yes.
That I think, so when you think about it, beginning of February to the end of October, that's a long time to be. Most films are done within 2 months,
Yeah.
and this took that long.
Right.
But they knew when they finished, they knew they had something really special that would end up standing the test of time, you know.
Absolutely, and it'd never been done before. You know,
No,
everything.
no,
The
nothing like
techniques to make the shark
Yes,
believable.
yes,
You know,
and it was,
everything.
yes.
Everything. You know, and I'm still wondering. You know, the part where Chief Brody, when he fires at the shark, and the shark's got the tube in his mouth.
Yes, yes.
And it explodes. How in the world did they make that so real? You know, it's gross to look at, but it's a marvel of work.
It is, it sure is. And you know, they didn't have computers like we do to make
Right.
things, it's not computer enhanced.
Right,
It had to be done just as you see it.
right.
So it was, perhaps they did some trick photography there, but if they did, it was really a work of art.
It was, you know, I'm just thinking,
Hands-on.
how difficult to do that in 1975. And to see when the shark went under the water after the explosion, you see the blood coming out.
Yes, yes.
You know, that,
Yes.
that must have taken a horrendous amount of work.
Absolutely. You're filming long days of filming. They were overtired,
Yeah.
over budget. The actors were exhausted
Mm.
because there was just so much that had to go into it.
Right.
Of course, for me, I love looking, just to, even if you're not watching the film for its theme, which you can't help watching because it's right there in your face,
Right.
but just looking at the people, how they were dressed, because they had lots and lots and lots of stand-ins.
Right.
Or I don't know if you call them stand-ins, but
Extras.
extras.
Yeah.
There were loads of extras, hundreds of extras. And it's wonderful because they're all dressed the way we dressed
Right.
in 1975,
Right.
They all had the tight-fitting jeans and,
Yeah.
the tie-dye shirts and,
Right.
and the long hair,
Oh.
It's just wonderful to see that. Just that alone is exciting for me.
It is. It is.
Because it's like time stopped.
Yeah.
It captures a moment and it lives on in that moment.
It does. It does. And I think, like, when I look at the character of Murray Hamilton, who played Mayor Vaughn,
Yes.
he added
yes,
to it.
yes.
He added
Yes.
so much, because he was such a deadhead.
Yes.
When he was trying to, he's thinking of, well, what about our summer dollars? And that's really upsetting.
Yeah.
The crew,
Yes.
because it's like, well, it's not about dollars because people are getting killed.
Yes.
So there's that conflict as well.
Yes. There were conflicts, weren't there?
Yes.
I mean, on set. I mean, not on set, but on film. On
Yeah.
set, of course, there were.
Yeah.
But on film, there were conflicts.
Yes.
Personalities that had multiple layers.
Yeah.
And how they work together.
Absolutely.
Thinking, you were talking about the personalities on the boat, stuck together on this boat,
Right.
which is a long scene, several long scenes there, and you learn about their lives
Right.
and how they got to that point. I think that's fascinating.
It is. The way, like, Quint, when he first was introduced to Matt Hooper,
Yes.
he did not take him to liking him at all.
No, he didn't. No.
College educated, rich
Right.
white boy,
Yes.
and Matt Hooper felt the same way as Quint.
Yes.
When he goes, I don't need this local hero crap.
Yes.
He goes,
Yes.
give me your hands, boy.
Right.
But it also
Yeah.
created so much humor as well.
Yes.
Through the conflict.
Yes. Yeah. Interesting, because you feed into their characters. You can't help it. And
Right.
it's not just one-dimensional. Spielberg makes it so three-dimensional.
He does. He does.
And the music. That music is just, I think it's a John Williams score.
Yes.
And it's just amazing. I mean, he really got it right down.
He did.
He really did. I don't think they'd ever, certainly, I think it stands out as one of the great films of the 70s. It certainly became a cult film. I don't think it stands quite up to Star Wars, but it's pretty close. Star Wars is something that stands up for all time, but Jaws does too in its own way.
It does.
It's extraordinary.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I always look at, like, Roy Scheider's character.
Yes.
You see it. He's a very righteous man. He has to go up against the Amity establishment and tell them straight.
Yes.
That we're going to have to close the beaches.
Yes.
And they're all looking at him dead-faced. They just don't understand. And Mayor Vaughn's going on the beach and telling people it's safe to go in the water. Why aren't you going in the water? So you have this man who's got this real struggle, not just with the shark, but with the people, the heads of department in Amity.
Yes, interesting.
And
you can feel that. You can feel you can feel all that pressure that he's feeling.
Yeah.
It just comes right across.
It does. It does.
And then the pressure of all these people who want to do anything to keep the beaches open to make money.
Right.
Because that was their mainstay
Right.
for the year. So there was a conflict right there.
Yeah. Trying to deal with someone like Mayor Vaughn, who was more interested in somebody who vandalized his poster.
Yes.
When he called them a bunch of paint happy bastards.
Right.
I'm going to pull them up by the Buster Browns.
Yes.
And you're thinking, this guy's worried about a paint job.
Yeah.
And I have to deal with people with limbs coming off.
Yes, right.
It's just like, how do you
Interesting.
handle that?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, there's one scene, well, there are many scenes in there that are interesting, but the scene, the Roy Scheider's son, he's about 10 years old. He's in the inner harbor on a little boat.
Yes.
The shark is also in the little harbor,
Right.
inner harbor.
Right.
and mega shark. You realize then just how big this creature is.
Right.
This is a monster. And this 10-year-old in his little punt looks like just so vulnerable.
Yes.
But the sheer terror of, I'm getting goosebumps, the sheer terror of Scheider and his wife when they discover that the shark is in there, their son is vulnerable,
Right.
and how the way to do anything. I mean, Scheider would have even swum out there to save the boy. He almost does. But the sheer terror
Yes.
and the suspense it builds during that scene.
Yes.
Talk about gripping.
It is, and it still gets to you today.
Absolutely. Every time I watch it, I think, oh my gosh, maybe this time that poor boy is going to get it.
Yeah.
Because it's so well done.
Yes.
And you think he may not survive. Of course he does
It
every
does.
time.
Yeah.
But that's a scene that really stirred me. There's so many others too.
There is. There's the one where the two boys played the prank, where they had the
Absolutely.
the things on their head,
That's right.
the shark fins on their heads.
Yes. Yes.
And you know, the boy comes up from the water with his friend. He's got a rifle pointing at him. I'm thinking, my God, that boy could have gotten killed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a moment, isn't it? Your heart goes into your throat.
Right.
At that moment, everybody's does.
Yeah.
Because it's so close to life and death.
It is.
Right there. And that's not the shark. That's
Right.
And how about the terror of the people running out of the water? They're all screaming and terrified.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no wonder the beaches were empty after that, after the release of Jaws.
But you know, I often, like I was thinking about this the other night, right? You know, how people say they didn't go into the water for about a year or two.
Yes.
And I'm thinking back in the 70s, we were much more impressionable than we are today.
That's a very good point, Philip. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
that's very true.
I hear like when The Exorcist was shown, people were passing out, going home, you know, scared that something might happen to them. But today, I just think people, if Jaws was shown today, people were just like, oh, don't worry about it, go horseshoe, go swimming.
Yeah.
There's a different mindset today.
Interesting. Yeah, we were more impressionable. I think we were more naive.
Yes.
Today, the world grew up. I always think the 70s were the last days of the world the innocent days the world ever knew.
Right.
The world grew up in the 80s.
Yes.
There was much more money. It got more sophisticated.
Yes.
And then, of course, computer age and everything became, today everything is instant gratification. And you have to really be pretty shocking today. Films have to be pretty shocking to get the point across.
Right.
Where they can be a lot more subtle then. You could almost hint at things.
Right.
And we accepted it. I mean, that was cutting edge. Today, if Jaws came out today, what about if it came out today? It came out in 2019. What would people be as impressed?
I think they would have enjoyed it, but I don't think there would have been the fear factor. You know, people still would have gone to Horseshoe Bay.
Yeah, I think they would have
gone swimming. You know, they just would not.
They're not as impressionable now.
Right.
As although we all have our feelings about things. I think perhaps today they would have had to make it slightly. It would have had to move faster. I remember looking at Jaws, looking at it again. I saw it about 3 weeks ago, in fact, on television. Looking at it again, and I thought, boy, there are some scenes here that are moving really quite slowly.
Right.
But that's how life was. Life was slow.
Right.
Today, those scenes, particularly on the boat,
right.
when he's talking about, one of them was talking about his experiences, they'd have to move it a lot faster.
Yes.
You know,
yeah,
it would be way too slow now.
Right.
They'd have to really push it to get, otherwise people start clicking into another channel.
Right.
Know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But you accept that. That's how it was done.
Right.
And you totally accept that. That's how it was done then.
Okay.
And it is a classic. I mean, it's a real classic.
And it's
become a cult film, I think.
Absolutely.
Cult status.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, so many other movie producers have tried to do remakes of Jaws.
Yes.
But they don't come up to Peter Benchley's production.
Interesting. Wow.
It
Isn't
just
that interesting? Of course, we had Jaws 2, Jaws 3. They don't stand up to Jaws. They just don't stand up to it. They're not quite, they're a little more sensational. They don't have the layers. Jaws has so many different layers, personalities and conflicts and vulnerabilities and all these things that 2 and 3 didn't necessarily have. Although they were all done in the 70s.
Right.
Well, I think that maybe the last one was done in 81 or
I
something.
think I checked the last one. Jaws 4: The Revenge was done in
4.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about 4.
They did a 4 in '87. I'm tempted to watch it.
Oh, that's too
I'm tempted-
much. I didn't know about 4. I knew 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I think 2 was done around in the late 70s, and maybe
78.
3 might have been done in 80 or 81 or something.
Yeah.
But I didn't know about 4. Well, that's too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. They're getting like the Jason films.
I know. I know. But you know,
Sequels are usually never as good.
the one thing that I'm really, really pleased about is that when I was a child, I wanted to actually go see Jaws. I remember crying.
Yes.
I remember being in Rockland's estate, and I'm sure it's to do with Jaws.
Yes.
My brothers and my cousins were going down the hill, and I couldn't go because I was too young.
Oh,
I
you
was
would
only
have been
5.
5, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think had I seen something like that,
Yeah.
it would have freaked me out.
Oh, at 5, I wouldn't have been able to deal with that. It would have. I mean, I was 19.
Right.
That was enough. It was bad enough being 19 and seeing it.
Yeah.
Being 5 or anything under 12, I wouldn't have been able to deal with that
Right.
at the time.
Mm.
It would have been way beyond.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Beyond the pale, you know.
Yeah. Well, John, it's a wrap. So
No, this has been great. It's
It's been-
wonderful to reminisce
yeah,
about anything about the 70s.
absolutely.
Because you're young again, you know.
Yeah,
And the world was young, and the world was a special place.
It
You
was.
know, it hadn't
was.
grown up. It hadn't
It
grown up.
It hadn't.
It's grown up too much now. But anyway,
Absolutely.
this was great.
Yeah.
Wonderful to reminisce.
Yes.
I mean, look at that. Isn't that fantastic, Jaws? There it is.
I found there was a copy of this. My parents had a copy of this on Rockland's estate. I actually found it in their wardrobe one day,
Yes,
and I looked at it, but I didn't understand what it was all about
yes,
until I got into my teens.
yes, yes.
You know, when I moved to England, and it was like, oh, this is what Jaws is all about.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and even back then, it was a big thing. You run home from school, and you just want to see it again. It was
Yes,
just
yes.
awesome
Absolutely.
stuff. Awesome.
And you know, it's just as a side, it's great. There's a phone. Here we go. Look at that, and a rotary phone at
Yeah.
that. I haven't done that for about 40 years. You know, everything's tuck 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 tuck.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
A rotary phone.
Okay,
Well,
John.
maybe we can call Peter eventually and tell him. This phone, you can call anybody on this phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody in the world.
Okay, well, thank you very much, John.
Oh, thank Philip. It was lovely to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure.
Really enjoyed this video with my friend John, and I'll see you next week with another news from back in the day. See you then. See you another time and another day. Take care.